Hi, I'm Nikki.
And I'm Megan.
Welcome to the Grimdark Diaries.
We're your geek gal pals obsessed with true crime and all things dark and disturbing.
Welcome, everybody. Happy holidays. This will come out after the holidays, right? Yes.
It'll come out after Christmas but before New Year, so still holidays.
And after winter solstice.
That is correct, yes.
Yes.
Hope you all enjoyed your holidays that have already passed.
I hope everyone is extremely full and your pants are all very tight.
That's exactly the way that it should be over the holidays.
No, the way it should be is that you just don't wear pants.
Fair. That's true.
That's the real secret to living the best holiday.
That's right. Only if you're not around your in-laws or something.
Yes. Well, then you just wear a dress or like a muumuu or something.
That's also a good point. Yes. Or a nightie.
Yeah.
Just nightie pajamas all the time.
Yes.
That includes, males and females.
Yeah. Wear what you want. Skirts
right.
are comfortable.
Exactly.
Did you watch The Witcher season 2?
No, I don't. I haven't activated my Netflix yet, but I'm planning on doing it very soon because now Leia's surgery is all done and she is all healed. The stitches came out. She's all good to go. Everybody will be happy to know. My wallet is very empty, but once that starts to replenish itself again, I am going to get Netflix and start actually checking off the list of the shows that you've been telling me to watch for like the last year.
Witcher season 2 was good. I just finished it.
I did. I loved season 1, so I'm very, very excited to see season 2. So as soon as I can get back on there.
The fans of the books don't love it as much.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
It strays. This is what I've been told because my husband is a very big fan of The Witcher and he has read the books.
Of course.
And so he had some issues with it, and then he went to the internets and other fans of the books had similar grievances.
Really?
Yeah, just stuff, killing characters that are alive in the books and doing stuff to characters like major things to the characters that don't actually happen in the books.
That tells me that Henry Cavill didn't have as much sway as we all think that he did.
No, but there was a couple lines, I guess, that I didn't read the books. Mm-hmm. So there was a couple little pieces of dialogue that my husband was like, oh, haha, that's like a joke from the book, or that's a reference to the book.
There was
those were Henry Cavill.
Yeah, there was a lot of, there was like a picture going around the internet or some meme or something that basically said that Henry Cavill took over sometimes and said, instead of this line, we should actually take it from, he would literally quote the page. Now, I don't know how true this is because it's not like a direct quote from somebody.
I saw that in some interviews with him.
Yeah.
I think it was on like the Graham Norton show or something.
Yeah, where he literally was like, we should actually take the line from page 263 of this particular book.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, he does all of the actors and actresses do a really good job. The acting is really good. And as someone who doesn't know how the book goes, I enjoyed it other than one kind of thing. The kind of like overarching big bad of the season.
Okay.
It confused me a little. And the way they resolved it kind of confused me. And then my husband was like, that's actually not in the book at all.
Oh.
Like, that thing is not in the book. It is completely made up.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and that's what kind of fans are annoyed about.
Yeah, I wonder why they decided to steer away from the books in that way.
I don't know.
We saw how well that went for Game of Thrones.
Right?
Usually not a good choice.
No. I have a grievance of my own I would like to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so the office that I'm sitting in that you can see, I started to paint it. Well, my husband painted it for me because I was busy. God love him.
Yes.
And so I had bought paint and he primed it. And he painted it, and it's 3 walls of white with one accent wall.
Right.
And so white walls take a lot of layers. So he got partway through and ran out of paint.
Oh, no.
So we went back to the Benjamin Moore store to get more paint. And they don't have any more. They are having supply issues. Oh. And my office has been covered in plastic sheets since the 1st of December.
I was wondering why it was still not done yet, but now that makes sense.
Yep. Went to 3 different Benjamin Moore stores.
No.
None of them have this particular color. And they're like, can't you choose a different color? And I'm like, no, because half of the room is already that color.
No. And you don't want to start with a new color already.
No,
That's
I don't.
stupid. That's so bad. Oh, the shipping and the shortages that we're experiencing right now due to COVID is just unbelievable.
And they have lots of paint. Just whatever this color that I need, whatever the base is for that color, they don't have that one kind of base.
I was going to say, can't they just make it?
That's what I don't get. Because I was like, oh, I need a gallon. Because it's Benjamin Moore paint. And they have different kinds of paint. And the one I get is called just Ben paint. And the very first store I went to, I was like, oh, I need just a gallon of the Ben paint in this specific color of white. As I'm looking at a wall of the Ben paint. And they're like, oh, we can't do that. And I was like, I don't understand.
What?
Like, I see all of these cans. And they're like, no, the base we need for that color of white, we don't have. And they have no idea when they're going to get it back. Like, not a clue.
Really?
Yes. And it's very frustrating because my office is like my personal space. And it has all my crafting stuff. Yeah. And it has all of my spiritual things and stuff. And everything is just in boxes under plastic right now. And I've been working out of my kitchen. And I just don't have my space, and it's very
And you haven't been able to properly set up for your podcast recording either, because I know you've been like in a different position.
On the side of my desk.
You've been in a different position every single time we've recorded.
Yes. So that's my grievance, is whatever's happening to the paint supply. I really need this paint.
That's absolutely fair. Hopefully they get it soon. I wonder if they lost a shipment. Like, I can't imagine. Maybe it's a labor shortage, and I have no idea. Have the people to make the base to ship it out.
I don't know.
I don't know enough about what's going on.
Me either.
But
I just want to paint my office.
I'm very sorry. I hope you get to paint your office soon. Did you get the
nice.
accent wall done?
Yeah, I did. It looks lovely.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, because I could get that color. It's like a dusty pink.
Of course.
Yes.
I am not shocked that it's a pink color.
It's a little more on the like pink side than I intended. I wanted more of like a dusty beige.
Yeah, you did show me a picture, I think, last time we chatted about what color you were hoping to get.
And this color ended up a little more on the pink side, but it's still nice.
Okay. Well,
anyway, this is boring for everybody. Especially because they can't see where I am right now.
Sorry to bore you all. I can't see your room either.
No, you just see a white door behind me.
I do. That's all I see. Yeah.
Okay. Well, here we are. Happy holidays. Awesome. Great. So I rolled for Fearsome Folklore.
Oh, yeah. I'm very excited to hear what you come up with. This is right up your alley.
I got a good one.
Yes, I have no doubt.
Yes. So this was a very hard theme because it was very hard to choose one folklore story.
I was going to say it's probably because of too many choices, not because there wasn't enough.
Yeah, so we're putting that theme back on the list.
Okay.
You can just word it differently or something.
Perfect.
Because there's literally an infinite amount of folklore stories from around the world.
Perfect. Okay.
I decided to go with something a little more on the magical side than the scary side.
I'm not surprised about that either.
But it still does have some kind of creepy, weird stuff to it.
Perfect.
For some reason, this particular thing that I'm going to talk about has come up in the group chat with our friends several times over the last couple weeks.
Really?
Yeah. And I had also been reading, before it came up in our group chat, I had also been reading a book recently and it mentioned them in it as well.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, so I felt it was a sign.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Because there's only one thing that keeps coming up in the group chat that seems very folklore-ish.
Okay, we'll see if you're right.
Do you want me to say?
No. Well, let me say first.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. No, you say.
Is it Fae?
It is.
Yay!
Today we're going to be talking about fairies.
Yay! Okay, good. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I was thinking about the chat and I'm like, that's really the only thing folklore-ish that the group has been talking about. So
it's weird because it was already on my mind and then it came up like 2 or 3 separate days, and I was
Yeah.
like, huh.
It's very weird how much it has come up lately when it
Yeah.
isn't something we ever talk about, I feel.
No.
So the timing is perfect.
I feel like growing up, if I heard fairy, I would think of a Tinkerbell like thing, or
Same.
just a happy dancing fairy with glittery wings and magic, and they were always kind and helpful and gentle.
Yeah. Oh God.
Actual fairy folklore is not that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I obviously know nothing about them.
Yeah, the media really sugarcoated them and made them to be a very sweet thing for children.
Wow, okay. I feel like a whole world is about to explode on me.
Yeah, we're getting the hard-hitting facts here at Grimdark.
Perfect. Lay it on me.
Have you ever been on a walk in the woods but can't stop checking behind you because you just have that feeling like something is kind of there?
I always think it's a bear. But yes, I have had that feeling before, for sure. Yes.
It's kind of that eerie, you feel like maybe you're being watched, or even that the woods themselves were kind of speaking to you.
I don't like where this is going.
Maybe you've even been in the woods and you could hear music, but you can't figure out where it's coming from. If you've ever had any of these things happen to you, then you've probably been visited by the Fae folk and don't even know it.
Interesting.
The history of fairies differs in literally every culture, but pretty much every single region has some sort of folklore legend about what fairies are and how they came there. So I obviously can't cover it all. There's no way. There's so many.
Why not?
Oh my goodness. We could have just a podcast about fairies.
Really? Well,
Yes.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So if I say something that is not correct in your fairy knowledge, or it's not the fairies that you want to hear about, I'm sorry, but folklore also has no way of proving what is actual factual. So
I mean, that's fair.
So I'm going to go with what I found the most about and what just sounded the coolest to me. It's very scientific.
Listen, we do what we want on this podcast.
Yeah. I also kind of went for the ones that were closest to what fairies we'd have on this side of the world.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the east coast of North America, I assume.
Well, just kind of like Canada and the US.
Right.
We would have some similar fairies going on.
Right. That's fair.
The spelling we most often see in the media is fairy, like Fairy.
Right.
But in actual folklore, it's more often spelled Faerie, like the Fae, or Faery. They can also just be called Fae folk. Fairies were originally defined as mystical characters that had the power to do good and evil. In most regions, fairies were mischievous and indulged in trickery.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes. In the media, especially geared toward children, they're very pleasant, kind creatures. But in reality, the fairies of the past were feared as dangerous and powerful beings who were sometimes friendly to humans, but could also be extremely cruel. So now we're just going to kind of look at some history of fairies in different parts of the world. Some think that the word fairy has Latin roots, meaning fate. In the Latin mythology, beautiful women possessing supernatural powers appeared in homes where babies were. They would then decide the newborn's fate, and then they would fly away.
Like Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were
But I don't think it was always good fate.
3 fairy godmothers or whatever they were called.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just choose to believe the Disney version.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'll see how much you can hold that up as we go through.
We'll touch on this again at the end.
Yeah. We'll circle back to this.
Yeah. Okay.
There are some connections to Greek mythology and fairies, but in their version, fairies were referred to as nymphs. These nymphs protected the face of Mother Earth, and it's said that the gods made nymphs, including ones for tree, water, forest, and meadow, to take care of the earth. Nymphs were beautiful, delicate, feminine creatures that were similar to fairies. These nymphs had a masculine form known as satyrs. Nymphs also possessed the will to do good or bad. In the 13th century, England had a new concept of fairies, introducing them as little people with or without wings that were either nice or evil. I like that they had no gray area.
Yeah.
There wasn't any neutral.
No, absolutely not. It's
No.
either all or none.
Yeah.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Oh my god, is Yoda a fairy?
Oh my god. What have we just discovered? Wait, we need to go through the rest of the story before we continue answering that question.
Yeah. Keep Yoda in the back of your head. We may have just discovered something. The British actually feared fairies a lot because they believed that fairies were mischievous creatures that could curse them. The word fairy meant enchanted to them. People in Britain believed that the fairies lived underground, in deep forests, or near water areas. Because of this, people would avoid crossing paths that were known to be fairy spots. People even had the corners of their homes removed to avoid interfering in the fairy pathways.
Corners?
Yes.
What? Really?
Apparently.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
If it's like an inner corner, maybe, because I guess then if it's an inner corner, then you're like, if you walk that, I don't know. I'm trying to justify it, but I don't.
The way it made it sound is that the outside of like the corner of your house was interfering with a pathway, but it said that they lived in water areas, deep forests, or underground. So I don't know how the corner of your house could be in the way.
Well, it could be the little cabin in the woods.
Maybe.
I don't know.
If the corner of your house is going over some water, you should probably take that corner out anyway.
I feel like that's probably not safe.
Eventually, the English mythological beliefs were overtaken by Christianity, trying to force everyone to convert everything to their beliefs. So then they produced a theory of fairies, explaining them as fallen angels. They said that fairies were too good for hell, but too bad for heaven, so they were sent to earth to live there. The Christian churches supported the idea of fairies because they wanted to promote Christianity and the existence of God, and people already really believed in fairies. So the church kind of exploited this and told people that they were a true sign of God. They claimed, quote, God allowed them to appear in times of great ignorance to convince people of the existence of an invisible world. So that was found on some writing thing somewhere.
Okay, a writing thing.
A writing thing. I don't
like
know.
a tablet or...
It was quoted.
I see, okay.
So like a Jesus brochure or something.
Okay.
I don't know what churches hand out.
Well, they do hand out brochures, so
there you
maybe.
go. It was on a brochure.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah. Maybe it had a picture of Jesus with some fairies or something.
Well, I can't say I've ever seen one of those, but you never know.
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
Have you gone through every brochure?
No,
the
I
churches,
literally
Megan?
have not. You are correct.
Everyone, if you go to Christmas church, because that's when my grandmother would make me go, keep your eye out for the Jesus fairy brochure.
There might be one hidden behind a tree or something in the picture.
Yeah.
Just look real close. I'll be honest, I didn't never read those brochures anyway.
Eventually, the churches changed their story, though, and fairies went from angelic to demonic in their origin. The belief became more popular with the rise of Puritanism in the 17th century, where anything even remotely related to paganism was simply deemed demonic. So because people saw fairies as magical, enchanted creatures, magic equals pagan equals the worst, according to Christianity. So then they kind of flipped it and made it a scary thing for everybody.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that that happens.
Especially because you can't start out with like,
No.
here's the Jesus fairy brochure.
Right.
We're proving God exists. And then being
Exactly.
like, actually,
What
if
about
you believe in
hypocrites? I'm
fairies-
sorry.
it's the devil.
Exactly. Which is so wrong.
Yeah. So then tell us if you see the demonic fairy Jesus brochure too. Now we're going to one of my favorite places. In Irish mythology, fairies were magical creatures that belonged to Tuatha Dé Danann. No, let me say it again. Tuatha Dé Danann, a supernatural race of gods and goddesses. Historians report that the Tuatha Dé Danann I had to look up and then I spelled it out phonetically.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if that's not it. Because in my head, I was like, yeah, this phonetic spelling that I made up is going to really spell it out for me. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, no, it's not, Nikki. So the Tuatha Dé Danann was a highly developed race. The people of the divine tribe were tall in size and their bodies glowed. When I read that, literally all I could think of was the glowing Mr. Burns in the woods.
Yes. They thought he was an alien.
Simpsons.
Yes, I love it.
So that's what I picture them as. So everybody join me in that.
Yeah, I am now.
Tuatha Dé Danann famously disappeared into the other world after losing a war against humans for the land of Ireland. They would then often reappear in human-like form to the humans that still lived on Earth. So the Irish belief is that is who the fairies actually are. So any fairies they see in the past or that they see currently have all stemmed from that race.
Interesting. Okay.
In some Scandinavian myths, the fairies are divided into two groupings of light and dark, with each type living in a different spiritual realm. In Roman mythology, we often see fairies as a kind of household or hearth spirit, taking up the role as guardian of the home. Romans have the nice fairies, apparently.
Hey guys, this is Todd, Sean, and Nate, and we are from the Middle Aged and Creeped Out podcast. We drop full episodes every Wednesday night or Thursday morning, and our middle-aged mini episodes drop on Saturday afternoons at 3 o'clock.
And if you enjoy discussions about the paranormal, weird, unexplained, and just plain creepy, then check out our show. You can find us however you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you like what you hear, don't hesitate to give us a 5-star rating and review. Telling a friend, family member, or even a coworker about us helps the show.
And you can also find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching Middle Aged and Creeped Out. And our TikTok is @Mako Podcast, and that's with 2 A's.
Well, Nate, what do you think?
That's the end of our promo, and that's a wrap.
Well, there you go. So until next time, creepies, Nate is your sound engineer. We are your hosts, Todd and Sean.
And they are middle-aged and creeped out. Keep it creepy.
So that was just a small sampling of fairy history, but I did find it was the ones that kind of stayed closest to what kind of fairies we would find here in Canada. So now the question is, what do we know about the Fae now in current times, which is the time of science and the time of people that lack belief in magic and otherworldly things? So today, in our slice of the world, fairies are widely considered to be small, non-human creatures that linger in the hidden and in-between places, most often found in nature. Some call their land the otherworld, or fairyland, or fairy realm. They can be benevolent or malevolent, and are believed to be enchanted creatures with magical abilities, often using that magic to cause a whole lot of mischief. Some modern pagan myths even suggest that fairies are simply the pagan gods of old, forced to flee and live in hiding after Catholicism and Christianity swept through Europe. I didn't find that that was like a super widely known belief, but that did seem to come up in some of the research.
Okay.
Since every culture differs on their belief of the Fae, there's no true definition of what constitutes a fairy, besides someone magical from an other world of some kind. The type of fae folk you'll interact with is completely dependent on your corner of the world. You might be wondering, Megan, how to avoid or how to visit these other worlds and these fae folk, right?
Definitely the latter. I want to go visit them.
You do want to visit them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully there'll be nice fairies.
Good. I have a whole thing if you want to visit them. We're going to get to that.
All right. Sounds good. New adventures.
Mm-hmm.
We'll keep you updated on that.
Yep. In Celtic legend and lore, the fae folk are associated with magical underground caverns and natural springs. It's believed that a traveler who went too far into one of these places would find himself in the fairy realm.
Oh.
Another way to access the world of fae was to find a secret entrance. These were typically guarded, but every once in a while, an unsuspecting adventurer would find his way in. Often, he found when he left, more time would have passed than he expected. In most folklore tales, mortals who spend a day in the fairy realm find that at least 7 years have passed in their own world.
Holy, what?
Yes.
Yikes.
So
okay.
time moves very differently.
How old are these fairies?
They live a very, very, very long life.
Well, they would be babies in their own world, but they'd be ancient in ours.
Yes. In parts of England and European folklore, it was believed that if a baby was ill, ugly, or deformed, chances were good that it was not a human infant at all, but it was a changeling left by the fae to impersonate their baby. If the family left this supposed changeling exposed on a hillside, the fae could come back to reclaim it.
What?
In the hopes that they would then return their baby.
Yikes. Please tell me people didn't actually believe that and do that.
Oh, they sure did.
Oh, no. That's not good. Not good.
No. It was thought that the fae would leave deformed or sickly fairy infants in place of a human baby shortly after it was born. A human newborn that received too much praise or was too highly adored by humans might bring unwanted awareness to the fae because they wanted attractive or charming babies. So then they would steal those babies and leave the sickly fairy babies, and then those were dubbed changelings.
That's a major yikes for me, dog.
Yeah. We might all be thinking, definitely Megan thinking, why and how are people coming up with this changeling theory?
Yeah, exactly. Why and how?
Well, changeling stories are thought to exist with the rise of Christianity and the belief that infants are vulnerable to demonic possession. So stories were told from the churches claiming that the fae folk prey on unbaptized babies. So they kind of put a sense of fear in the communities to encourage them to baptize their babies as Christians to avoid being kidnapped by the fae. So this would be when they kind of flipped the switch on their brochures.
Right.
And they went from angelic to demonic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They were like, we're not
man.
winning them over with sugar.
We gotta
What is it?
bring more
Honey or-
people into our churches and
Yeah.
start their children off super young so that they
Yeah.
give us more money. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there was an ulterior motive than actually thinking that fairies were coming to do that.
I mean, maybe they did. Who knows? Who knows what's in people's brains?
Mm-hmm.
If a family was thought to have had their baby replaced with a changeling, then they'd put the baby through all kinds of awful tests. Placing a child on a metal shovel held over the fire was a very common technique of testing if a baby was a changeling.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
No!
Yeah.
No! That's so awful!
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The
What would they expect it to do if it was a changeling?
Well, the belief is that the fae would come to rescue the changeling.
I
So
bet you
then-
that happened exactly 0 times.
Yeah. So then what is awful about that is if the fae don't show up, then you're like, oh shit, I just put my own baby over this.
Right?
'Cause
You're roasting your poor little baby.
Exactly.
Oh, Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it here.
Yeah. Parents of a newborn could keep their child safe from abduction by the Fae by using one of several simple charms. A wreath of oak and ivy, iron or salt, placed across the doorstep, and these would keep fairies out of the house completely. Also, if the father draped one of his shirts over the cradle, that would prevent Fae from going in and stealing the kid. Some stories also encouraged parents to be nice to the changeling if they did end up with one, because that could lead to their child being brought back, because the fairies would see that you were being nice.
What would be their objective? I just don't understand.
The fairies?
Yeah.
Well, it was said that the ones that they left were sickly. So they were like, we had a sickly baby.
They didn't want them though.
We want a good baby. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, fairies are very mischievous.
True, yes. Nothing like stealing a baby for a good old time.
Yeah.
Seriously.
They live in a different world. Maybe they have a very different idea of fun, Megan.
I would say so. Failing to see the humor.
Yeah, Grimdark does not encourage baby stealing. Is
absolutely
fun.
Never.
Do not.
I was gonna say not and never at the same time.
Not
never.
Ever. That's a double
Never.
from
That's
yeah.
right.
Not never. Don't never not.
No, that's a double negative. No, not ever.
Just
never.
Don't.
Just never. Don't do it.
Most fae folk and fairies live in the otherworld or fairy realm. Not much is known about the otherworld besides that it exists separate from our dimension. Legend says that the otherworld is close to our world. It's almost as though we live side by side with fairies, but we're in a slightly different dimension.
So like the upside down.
I literally was thinking the same thing.
I don't know why, but that is what came to my mind thinking about this. I'm like,
yes.
I feel like we're going to the upside down world.
Yes, literally, same thing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, glad we're on the same page.
Yeah, classic TV tropes, always.
Exactly.
So we are still close enough to interact with them, but not close enough that we see them daily.
Like through a veil then?
Yes. So they do a lot of glamour magic too.
Glamour magic?
Yes.
Like making themselves look beautiful?
No. A glamour would be a spell to make it so that we can't see them.
Oh, I would not think that when I hear the word glamour.
Really? I'm
No.
pretty sure they said it in Buffy before.
Really? Okay, but I only watched it once. And I binged that hard.
Yeah.
So remembering
Did
each
you
episode
watch,
is...
I'm trying to think of other things that would have said glamour. Yeah, a glamour would be a spell to change the appearance of something.
Okay. Well, I
So-
guess that... maybe that does make sense in the makeup world then, because you are technically changing your appearance.
Yes, you are.
Fair. Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. I honestly thought it was more of a, like, making yourself look beautiful, meaning than making yourself look different. Or
No, it's different, or
concealing
they would use
your
it to make
true
themselves
self.
invisible, so you couldn't see them.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. I'm going to start using that in that context. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to plan something.
You'll work it in there.
That's right.
It'll be like when people have word a day calendars and they just shove words into sentences daily, and you're like, you definitely don't use that word.
Absolutely did not fit in that sentence you just said. It'll be in a future podcast episode. You just wait.
Yeah. In Old Ireland, legend said that fairies actually lived on the plain just above us, not beside us. So I think that also is a thing that differs with every culture. But most seem to think it's beside us.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
Mm-hmm.
Until I thought about the upside down, and then...
And then that, what do we say? That's the reverse of us? The underside of us? It's our underbelly.
It's maybe underbelly is a good term. Yeah. I like it. Hopefully there's no mind flayers in this world, though.
I mean, there could be. People don't know a lot about the other world.
I suppose. And a human that only stays in there for one day is already 7 years older.
Yeah.
Not much you can do in that time.
Nope. The movie Alice in Wonderland is actually said to be a good representation of the other world. The colors are brighter, the characters are strange to us, and time isn't consistent.
I never really liked Alice in Wonderland.
I found it a little odd, but I liked it because I'm a little odd.
I guess. I never enjoyed it. Like, it never appealed to me at all, but that, I don't know why. Yeah. I
found some of it a little scary.
Yeah, I can
When I was a
definitely
kid.
see the scare factor to it, but again, it was probably because it was more a little odd than not. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe my tiny brain couldn't really comprehend what was happening. So it was all over the place. I'm like, I don't understand what happened. And at the end of the story, I do recall being very confused. So
I feel like I read an Alice in Wonderland book when I was a kid and I liked that, and then I watched the movie and I didn't like it as much. Because I feel like when I was reading it, I was making up in my head what it all looked like.
Right.
And then in the movie, I found it a little too weird, and I was like, what's happening?
I used to get those. Do you remember, or did you ever hear of the Disney book club? So you could get, like, you got like 5 different Disney books at a time, and they were all the exact same shape. They were all different colors, but they were all very similar. So like the
Sounds like the
spines.
greatest thing ever.
It was
As a child.
incredible. And I was a part of it for a very, very short period of time before my mom realized we would start getting like duplicates of the same book and stuff. So she canceled it real quick. But I think Alice in Wonderland was a part of it. But the stories had pictures. So it would be like half a page would have a picture and half the page would be writing. And then it would go like that throughout the whole book. And it was
that's my kind of book.
super, super easy for me to learn to read, especially with all these Disney stories that I loved so much. And I believe that Alice in Wonderland was one of those ones. But I remember not enjoying it, even with the pictures. Anyway, yeah, I digress, but I really, really loved those books. If anybody else out there ever heard of or was a part of the Disney Book Club.
What a nerd.
I feel like this is the first time I'm like talking about it or recognizing that I was a part of it for like, I don't know, 20, 30 years of my life. Probably close to 30 now. Anyway. Back to the story.
Yes. So because fairies use glamours or magic to affect what we can see, typically they have to hide themselves from us because our worlds are so close. So that's why they're always using magic and glamours, because they're trying to kind of hide from us. Some fae folk live in nature, which is what most people picture when they think of fairies. But others live in mines or in the sea or even in the cities. Fae can also be seasonal creatures. So some fairies are active year-round, while others are specific to a season and then they rest in between. Fairies have their own rules, ethics, morals, and etiquette that they abide by. It can be difficult to understand them and their actions because they live in a culture that we aren't used to. But you do not want to go against their etiquette in front of them.
How do you know? How do you know what their etiquette is?
That's... Luckily, we know some of it, and we will cover some of it. It is very specific.
I need to know.
Yeah, you do, because if you mess up, you're in trouble.
Oh, God. I don't want to think about it. They'll stick a bear on me or something.
Maybe.
Oh, God. It's my worst nightmare.
One thing that seems to be pretty universally agreed upon is that most fairies are often very, very mischievous. This doesn't mean that they are all necessarily bad or evil, but they typically enjoy playing tricks or using wordplay to confuse people. They might also steal things from your home or trick you into giving them something. Fairies can't lie, so they're experts at using wordplay to trick you or avoid answering your questions. Many powerful witches and spiritual teachers who work with the fae folk in their practice have described negative interactions if they're not following the rules, and sometimes they've just run into not nice fairies. There are reports of fairies stealing items, causing bad luck for a long time, killing crops, hurting animals, making people sick, temporarily blinding humans, or
Oh my-
causing madness or loss of speech.
Wow.
Yes.
Yikes.
In worst case scenarios, fairies have been known to bruise or cause severe cramps through pinching and hitting you. They can cause strokes. They steal children, which we already discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's even reports of them trying to kill humans.
Wow. Yikes.
So some fairies are wildin'.
Okay.
In
good
not a
to
good way.
know. Don't get on their bad side. Got it.
No. Just like humans, not all fairies have bad intentions. They can also heal you. They can befriend you, make your gardens grow, play with your animals, introduce you to a really, really magical world.
So you're saying that I could hire them to do things for me around the house?
Don't hire them.
Okay.
You can't. If you act like you're above them, that's a big no-no.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Yes. You could trade them. They love trading. But you have to give them something in return.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Start thinking
equal-
about it.
of
We'll come
equal
back to you.
value.
You're going to trade the fairies.
Oh my god. I have nothing of value.
For all there are fairies that steal children, there are lovely fairies who enjoy playing with children and working with nature. Fairies have also been known to warn humans of danger. So it is good to have a good fairy on your side.
Okay.
If you decide that you'd like to see a fairy, it is believed that a wash of marigold water rubbed around your eyes can give mortals the ability to see them. It's also believed that if you sit under a full moon in a grove that has trees of ash, oak, and thorn, you'll be able to see the fae.
That is very specific.
It is. So now, what if you happen to meet a fairy? We're going to make sure that you are prepared, Megan.
Okay. I need
Yes.
preparing.
Yes. There's a list of rules.
I'm
and
going to
you-
freak out and forget it all.
You can't forget it.
I
It
will
could be
keep
your
this.
life.
I'll keep this episode on repeat when it gets released.
Yeah. The first kind of thing is that they don't like iron. It's said to burn their skin. So if you want to avoid fairies, then it's good to carry something made of iron with you. And if you want to see fairies, do the opposite.
That's good. I don't tend to carry iron on me a lot.
No.
I can't even think of anything iron that I have except maybe a skillet or something.
So here are our hard and fast rules for fairies. Rule number 1. Never ever eat food that they give you.
Okay. Oh, this was something that came up in our chat, in our
It
group
was.
chat.
So now we're going to find out why you
Okay.
should never ever eat. And what's funny is that our friend said that he did eat the food. He was like, I
Right.
can't refuse food from fairies. And our other friends were like, no, no, no.
No, don't
It
eat.
is the opposite.
That's right. Exactly.
So if you're listening to this, you need to start refusing.
That's right.
So eating their food will do 2 very unwanted things.
Uh-oh.
First, if you're in the land of the fae, eating their food will force you to be stuck in there.
Whoa. Forever?
Yes, forever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're tricksters,
That's a very mean trick.
right? The second thing that will happen, and in my opinion, the worst case scenario, eating their food will make you no longer hungry for human food, which means that you will both starve to death, but more importantly,
Both.
you won't ever want to eat dessert again.
No.
And that is a fate worse than death.
No.
Yeah.
That is unacceptable.
You'll never want pizza or chocolate
I can't
or a
live
nice cold
in
beer
a world where food isn't wanted in my
or
belly.
rosé.
Oh my
right?
god. This rosé I'm drinking right now is real good. I could
Right?
never imagine not wanting it.
Yeah. So you'll never want human food ever again. And you'll
Wow.
eventually, because this is if you eat it when you're outside of the fairy world,
Yeah.
and then you will starve to death because you won't be able to stand human food.
So even though you wouldn't want human food, you couldn't actually eat it? Like you physically can't
No.
eat it?
Yeah, so you're pretty much damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Wow. Okay, so don't ever eat food from a fae.
Correct. And
Got
so legit, recently I was having some health issues. It wasn't COVID, I promise. But I was having some stomach issues. And so my stomach was very upset very often. And foods started grossing me out, like foods that I love. Because, you know, when you are like sick or whatever, and you eat something near when you're sick, and then that thing you associate with that feeling.
Yes.
Literally, I had that going on. And it was actually the most depressing thing ever.
No.
I had a few days where I couldn't eat peanut butter. And that is literally my favorite food.
Oh.
I was like grossed out. I would look at the jar of peanut butter in my fridge and be like, I can't even look at it.
Okay, that is a big deal. If you know
Right?
Nikki, you know how big of a peanut butter fan she is.
Literally, I eat so much peanut butter. It's
Wow.
not healthy how much peanut butter I love. Yes.
Wow. So that's
then-
past, right? You can eat
Yes.
peanut butter again? Okay, good.
Yes.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I ate like 4 peanut butter cookies today.
I love that for you.
Yeah. So then reading about this really hit home for me because recently all I was eating was grilled cheese sandwiches. That was like the only thing I could eat.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So
Yeah, I
who
was
did
making some good grilled cheese,
which
though.
fae did you eat
I don't know.
food off of?
God, if I had read this before, that's what I would think is going on.
Exactly.
It cursed me to a life of grilled cheese sandwiches, which isn't bad because I make them on sourdough with some matzah and cheddar.
Damn it, I miss
Yeah.
gluten so bad.
It is good. You can buy gluten-free bread.
Can you buy gluten-free sourdough bread?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
There's
The only
I'm pretty
gluten-free bread that I see is like $8 for a tiny itty-bitty loaf that isn't even full-size bread
Yeah,
pieces.
it's expensive. To be fair, sourdough is also expensive, so it'd probably be very expensive. You know what? I'm pretty sure there's a health food store I go to on Starboard Drive. It is called Luminate Co. And I am 95% positive that their bakery fresh sourdough they sell is gluten-free.
Okay, I will check
Yes.
that out. Thank you.
It is very small. And
It
my
usually
husband
is.
and I both eat because I was looking for sourdough. I get this specific sourdough from the grocery store.
Yeah.
And they're often sold out and I get so angry.
Oh.
And so they were sold out. And then I was in that store getting something and I was like, do you have sourdough? And she was like, yeah, because I saw it on their Instagram and it looked a lot bigger. And then she handed it to me and it just like fit in my 2 hands. And I was like, oh, this won't do because my husband and I both eat it. So that would be like 1 meal each.
Yeah. Oh man, I'll definitely check it out. That'll be enough for maybe lunches for a couple days.
Mm-hmm. And get yourself some grilled cheese.
Yum. Oh, I love grilled cheese.
Me too. I had a grilled cheese today because they were good, and then I got the taste for them. So now I'm like, I just want grilled cheese every day. You know what's
Kinda do
really
that
good?
too.
Okay, one more sidebar.
Yeah.
So for me to eat food at restaurants or anywhere is very hard because I have a lot of food intolerances and food allergies and just weird food stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if I need food in a hurry, my only option is usually French fries, which is not a great option, and I get really
No.
bored of them. However, at Starbucks, they have a sourdough grilled cheese, and it is literally my favorite grilled cheese. I realize that they
Really?
throw it in like a toaster oven or something, and I'm pretty sure it's prepackaged, but the ingredients are all legit. Like it's just sourdough ingredients,
Nice.
and I think they butter it with like olive oil or something, and it's just cheese. And I'm telling you, every time, there's no Starbucks where I live now, which is really depressing.
Right.
So every time I leave Sackville, I'm like, gotta stop for a grilled cheese.
Even if it's nowhere near any mealtime.
Literally.
At all.
And sometimes
Breakfast in the morning.
sometimes it'll be a time of day where I don't want a coffee or I already had one
Yeah.
and I don't want another one. But I feel weird going to Starbucks and just ordering a grilled cheese. So then I always have to get a coffee. I just sit in my car and let my coffee get cold while I eat
You
grilled
can
cheese.
always put your coffee in the fridge and heat it up the next morning.
That's what I do.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
That
I
makes
often
sense.
just want the grilled cheese. But I have this weird thing where I'm like, nobody just gets food at Starbucks. But it's all I can really drink at
I've just
Starbucks is
gotten
black
food.
coffee.
I'm sure I've gotten just food at Starbucks before.
Really?
Yeah. I used to go there for lunch sometimes when I worked in Burnside.
And you wouldn't get a beverage?
No, I never got a beverage from them.
Really?
I usually just got their... Because their beverages are so damn expensive. It's like $6 for one. I say that,
Yeah.
but I also... There's also a little cafe by where I work that's like a little mom and pop shop, and they have the best chai tea lattes I've ever had in my life. So I do spend about $6 every time. I
There
might
you go,
have one of
Megan.
them. I know. I just nothing at Starbucks ever got me like that willing to want to spend that much money on a drink.
Frig, I miss lattes.
Yeah.
I
You
like
should
coffee,
try to
it's
find
not
a
the
way to
same.
have lattes on your own diet somehow.
I mean, I can make it at home, but it's not the same. I want somebody to give it to me.
it's so true. Yeah. I
Yeah.
completely understand.
Yeah, that's why I want to go visit my friend Julie again. Julie, who we
Yeah.
had on the podcast, because she made me the best friggin' latte in my
Oh
life.
yeah, that's right.
I
Yes.
literally still think about that latte.
Oh.
Also, you know what? Shout out to Julie, actually, because Julie is a very sweet human, and I am having just a really rough time with some stuff. And Julie, all the way from a different province, had a box of like self-care stuff from Lush door dashed to my house.
No.
Yes.
Oh
So she
my
is literally an angel on this
gosh.
earth. She knew I was having a very
Aw.
bad day, and she was like, "Girl, have some you time." And she sent me a
That's so
very sweet gift.
sweet.
Yes, and I'm
Oh,
very excited to use it because I need some relaxed time.
Yeah.
So she sent me like a bath bomb and like body butters and all this stuff, and oh my god, it smells so good.
Amazing.
Oh my God,
I
I'm so
love it.
excited.
We love Julie.
Oh,
That's
she's-
awesome. What a sweetheart.
she's an angel on this earth.
True.
So back to fairy food.
Oh yeah, fairy.
Yeah, you might
Don't
be
eat
wondering.
food from fairies.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so we want to avoid this happening to anybody. So you might be
Yeah.
wondering what fairy food is. It is often things you would find in nature.
I
growing
honestly thought
in
it was just an apple.
It could be.
Okay.
So it's stuff that's growing in a spot that's inhabited by fairies, because that means they're probably growing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be berries or herbs or mushrooms. And I think it is a good general rule of thumb to just not eat plants while in the woods in an unfamiliar area anyway. But especially not now, because it could be poisonous or fairy food, and you could get yourself into fairy trouble.
I can't count the amount of times I used to eat berries from bushes in the woods when I was a kid.
Oh God. Just
I
like
know, to a point where
mysterious-
my mom was like, "You don't know if this is poisonous berries. You have to stop eating berries from
Oh
all the
God.
bushes."
Megan, you're very lucky that that wasn't fairy food.
I know. I wouldn't be alive today if it was.
No. God.
Very lucky,
Dodged a bullet.
right?
Rule number 2. Never ever be rude to a fairy. They are very big on etiquette, so never be a bad host or be selfish in front of a fairy. They very much frown on anyone that's rude, and they will let you know if you don't meet their standards. Punishments range from being pricked with a sharp weapon to drowning you in a bog. So a bit of a jump there.
Yeah.
I feel like not being rude is just a good general rule, though. So
I was gonna say I can't even imagine being rude to one in the first place. But
yeah, so use that in the human world and the fairy world. Just don't be rude.
Exactly. That's right.
Rule number 3, never accept a gift from the fae. I feel like this is a weird one because the last one was don't be rude,
Oh
So-
yeah. How do you not accept a gift from a fae
Right?
without being rude?
right? So when you read about this, people are like, you always have to accept the gift. And then some people are like, never accept the gift. So I feel like not accepting a gift is in fact rude.
Yes,
But-
agreed.
If you don't personally trust the fairy who gave you the gift, then accept it, but destroy it as soon as they're not looking. If you keep the gift, be very careful because you have to remember that they're in the business of mischief. If you do accept the gift, never ever say thank you. That implies that you owe them something.
What?
Yes, to them, first of all, they don't like thank you because it makes them feel like they're lesser to you. And also, it implies that you owe them something.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, these are touchy creatures.
Right?
I mean, I'm not being rude. I think they're wonderful.
Right?
Don't
So they
hurt
could
me.
bring you a little knickknack. You say thank you, and the next thing you know, they're going to come calling for your freshly baked pie or your firstborn child or something.
Jesus.
I don't know.
A bit of an escalation. I mean, the pie I'm willing to give, but my firstborn child, well, that on the other hand, maybe not so much.
Rule number 4, never give them your name. Names hold power, which is true in a lot of folklore stories.
Yes.
So you can just ask Mr. Rumpelstiltskin about that one. If a fairy asks for your name and you give it to them, you're giving them power over you and possibly even control over you. The best way to avoid this is to give them a nickname, or you could even try giving them a fake name. I feel like
and giving yourself a fake name?
Yeah. So if they ask what your name is, either give them some kind of a nickname. Like you could be like, oh, it's Megdromeda is what you could say. Or you could be like, it's Megs. You don't want to give them your real name.
Okay. It's very close to my real name, though.
Yes. I feel like most ladies out there had a fake name that they used in bars when guys were creepy to them. So now's your time to break that out again.
Fair. Done.
You have to be careful, though, if you make up completely a different name, because fairies also hate when you lie to them.
Oh, okay.
So you can't let them
make
find
it
out.
believable.
Yeah, that's why it's good to pick like a nickname or something close.
Right.
Rule number 5, never stand in a fairy ring. These rings are usually a ring of mushrooms that grow where a tree has died. There are also portals to the fairy realm. So if they decide not to teleport you to the fairy realm, they could actually just trap you in the ring instead. Yeah.
The child inside me is slowly dying. I'm like, oh, a ring of mushrooms. I would have thought that it was, like you said, a portal to the fairy realm and like a happy place. I'm going to go to my happy place. Oh, with a lot of dark connotations around it.
Yeah, right? I mean, you can get in tight with the fairies, though, and you can do this stuff if you want.
I mean, I guess.
This is like beginner rules. Like,
yeah.
First time shouldn't be doing this.
No.
Because remember, too, if you don't want to go to the fairy realm, but they teleport you because you're in the ring, the time also passes different there.
That's right.
Rule number 6, never strike a deal with a fairy. Once you strike a deal with a fairy, there is absolutely no getting out of it. Verbal deals are very important to them. Fairies are known to force you to consent verbally in any way possible. So if you, for some reason, really need to cut that sweet deal with a fairy, negotiate extremely carefully. Even just saying that you'll agree to negotiate means that you're in on the deal and then there's no backing out of it. So it's best to just avoid this. The word maybe is a good word to use with them because you get to avoid being rude and saying no, but also you're not agreeing to anything.
Duly noted.
So if after all of these rules, you still really want to meet the fairy folk, here are some ways that you can contact them.
Okay. Contact us here.
Yes. I know that this is what you want, Megan. You want to be able to find the fairies.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's the faerydiaries@gmail.com. So you want to make sure you respect them and what belongs to them. So don't go into areas that are clearly marked for fairies, aka fairy rings, or anywhere that you get that feeling like you're being watched in the woods, or if you hear gentle music while in the woods. Instead, contact them and then let them come to you at their own pace. If you do get that feeling that you intruded, don't go back to that area unless you're invited back by them. So no fairy hunting in the woods, please.
With your little fairy guns.
Oh my God, Megan.
Why you said hunting?
I was thinking like a butterfly net. Megan's shooting to kill.
I hear hunting and I think gun. I'm sorry. That's how I was raised.
No, Grimdark does not approve. Do not shoot fairies.
No, do not shoot fairies.
This goes back to her old fishing conversation last week.
There's many pictures of my dad with like trigger warning for hunting animals. There's so many pictures of my dad and like my sister, who was literally like maybe 5 or 6 in a huge orange coat, and my brother, same thing. Like it would be my dad's orange coat, but it was so big on them, it was just hanging off of them, standing beside like dead deer in the back of the truck and stuff like that. I know they
were children.
Well, I don't think I ever went, but those are the pictures that I grew up with. So my sister and my brother used to go. I don't know, they must have gone with him to go hunting. I can't imagine that they like how else they would take those pictures.
Don't let the fairies hear you saying this.
No.
They don't like if you're cruel to animals. It makes them very
right.
mad.
Yeah.
So you can leave offerings out for the fairies. They enjoy small shiny things like crystals, little baubles, mirrored pieces, jewelry. They also like sweet food, milk, honey, and alcohol.
Oh, I'm good on the alcohol. I'll bring a bottle of wine. We can chill for the night.
Yeah, I'm good on all those things. Like based on that list,
Yeah.
me and the fairies,
Yeah.
we could party.
I think so too. I'm down. Let's do it.
Right? Start gathering fairy things.
Okay. And no guns.
No guns,
Or nets.
Megan.
And no nets.
No.
Got it.
If you're going to give the fairies food, make sure you give them the best part of your food or trinkets instead of the worst part.
So they can eat our food, but we can't eat their food? That
Correct.
seems totally unfair.
Right? Well, theirs is magically enchanted, so.
Okay. Well, I too want to be magically enchanted.
Well, become a witch then.
Fair enough.
So if you have to give fairies the best part of your food, you know what that means you have to give them, Megan?
The first bite.
No, the very center of your cinnamon rolls. Because that is
the
peak.
Hell fucking no.
That is the peak of the best part of a piece of food, and I will fight anyone on that.
They can have my whole cinnamon bun because I can't eat those anymore, but hell no, because
It's the best part, right?
No, it's so good.
Just that center. Oh,
savor that forever. Oh, so good.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Right? I feel like I would actually make a good team with fairies because I weirdly often enjoy the parts of food that people don't like the most.
Really?
Yeah, mine is the cinnamon roll. So like on pizza, I like the crust. So I would prefer.
Depends on the kind of crust.
Oh no, I like
No.
the crust and that little channel of just sauce that kind of gathers. That's the best part of the whole pizza.
Okay. I like that part, but I wouldn't say it's the best.
Oh, the end that's all soggy with cheese and toppings? No.
Literally, that's my favorite part.
See?
The end, yes.
See, this works out. I'm telling you. I make a good eating partner because, okay, so I like the crust the best. Like I would take all the crust and be happy. I prefer the cake part of cake over icing.
What?
Yeah. Like I would much rather just eat cake.
I don't like too much icing because it hurts my teeth.
Mm.
I am old and have lots of exposed enamel.
Oh God.
I don't know. Anyway, it hurts my teeth, so
Mhm.
I like less icing, but I can't eat the cake without the icing.
Oh, I love just the cake.
Oh, that's so funny.
I also really like the bottoms of muffins, and I feel like everybody likes the tops of muffins.
100%.
See? No, I like the bottom. There was like a point in my life where I wouldn't eat the tops of muffins. I would just eat the bottom.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Right?
You and a fae would get along
Right?
so well.
I also like the edges of food, and I feel like people often prefer the center. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you mean, but yeah, like what kind of food you mean.
Yeah. But I feel like anytime anyone wants anything, they often want the center because that's where like all the stuff is.
Yeah.
And I would take the ends that have more of the edges and the crust and the
Yeah.
less of the filling. I just like the outer parts.
Like the crust of a pie and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Literally. I also really like, this is a weird one, but I really like burnt
You mean
foods.
the other ones?
I know.
What?
I know. I like burnt food.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and there's some food that I only like if it's kind of burnt.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So like if food gets burnt, like I'll take the burnt pieces and then leave the rest for other people.
Way.
Mhm.
I did not know that about you.
I
Also,
have weird
good
food
to
things.
know.
Yeah. So literally, I eat a lot of French fries. I don't eat a lot of French fries, but if we go places
You
like to
literally
restaurants,
had French fries before we
I know.
started recording tonight.
Megan witnessed this. We were having a video chat before we recorded, and my husband walked in with a thing of fries for me because I tell him if he orders food, there's a wife tax, and the wife tax is he has to bring me fries. But it's not even
was
that.
perfect.
I enjoy fries, but it's also when I go to a restaurant, it's usually one of the only things I can eat because it's the only thing that's safe
yeah.
for me. So
Good
I
thing
tend
you
to eat a
like
lot of
them, then.
fries, right? But if I get fries, this is a weird one. I like manhandle them all, and unless they're kind of burnt and hard, I don't want them. So I touch all the fries on my plate, and then I give my husband all the soft ones that I manhandled, and then I touch all of his fries, and I take all the crispy ones.
Okay, answer me this.
Okay.
If it came to a poutine and you had to give up the good part to the fairy, would you do it?
Yes.
Whatever the best part is, I don't know. Lots of cheese and
See, because I know that you're going to
gravy.
say the cheese is the best part, but I like the gravy.
oh. The cheese curds are the best part. I'm surprised that you don't think that because I know how much you love cheese.
Right? I love cheese, especially burnt cheese.
Oh my god. You must love making your own nachos and just burning
Literally,
the shit
I
out of
do.
the cheese.
100%. And if I'm sharing something with my husband, he's like, oh my God, it's starting to burn. And I'm like, no, it's just starting to cook.
Let it burn. Just see fire in Nikki's
Literally.
eyes.
I don't know what's up with my taste buds. But anyway,
Oh my god.
these are all the reasons I think I'd do well with fairies.
Yeah, I agree.
Except the cinnamon roll.
completely.
That's the one. The center is the best.
That would ruin your relationship
It
completely.
might.
Just don't ever bring a cinnamon roll to
That's the
the
thing,
fairy
yeah.
party.
It's true.
Or bring multiples.
Right? So back to fairies. If you want the fairies in your home, no. If you don't want the fairies in your home, make sure you leave any of these offerings outside. If you have it inside your home, that's basically just an invitation for them to come in. Fairies also really love gardens, so having those will help attract them. Make sure you don't have any iron around in the house or in the garden, because again, they hate iron. It burns them. They also love wind chimes or anything that makes music. You can even make little fairy dwellings for them outside. So basically just like little wooden birdhouses, but with more
Can I
privacy.
Just say,
Yes.
where I work, I usually go for a walk, usually once a week. And
Yeah.
there is this house up the street, like probably 5 minutes from my work. And it is littered. This one giant, I don't know if it's an oak tree. I don't know trees. But this giant tree in their front yard has fairy doors all
I love
up
fairy doors.
the front of it, and like little fairy houses and like little fairy gardens on the outside of it. Like the whole tree and everything around it is just everything fairy. I'm like,
They must work with the
love
fae.
this so much. Ooh, that's where I can go meet one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna now I know where to go back.
Yep.
And what to do and what not to do.
Yeah. Don't forget any of these rules.
Oh god, I forget everything already.
Yeah. So you can also just say out loud that you want them to visit you, or you can write notes and leave them outside. But once you say it, you can never ever take it back.
Well, shit.
So be sure you want them to visit you before you do.
Do you think they can hear me?
We're going to get to that.
I mean, oh no.
If a fairy is interested in talking to you, they may leave you gifts. They might also move your stuff around. They could show up in your dreams or even reveal themselves to you in real life. Keep your eyes open if you ask for contact with a fairy, and if they do appear, they might bring you a gift. So make sure that you reciprocate with one back to them, because otherwise they're going to think you're rude.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Okay.
ask for them to visit, you just gotta like have a gift on hand, or you gotta like panic grab something.
Okay. But it can't be a last minute gift because you don't want to look rude either.
No.
Be prepared always.
Be prepared.
Could I give them a tooth?
Oh God.
Like the tooth fairy. Will they give me money?
So other signs that fairies could be near even if you don't ask for them, are items disappearing. Animals will act strange, especially cats. They can very much sense fairies. You may hear wild music that doesn't seem to have a source. Or you could just have a song stuck in your head, a song that you don't really know, but the tune is just kind of in your head. You could smell the overwhelming scent of flowers with no clear source. You could see spheres of light around flowers, greenery, or mushrooms outside. And you could see motion in your peripheral vision that looks like shines or like flickering or flashing lights.
Okay, can I be real for a second?
Yeah, because I also have to be real for a second after you.
I see things out of my peripheral all the time. But I wouldn't say it's flashy. Like, it's not like a blingy thing. It's more like walking or something.
Oh, those are probably spirits then.
Moving. Oh,
those would be spirits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's so much better.
No.
Okay.
It's honestly worse.
It happens so frequently that it's to a point now where it is just a normal thing. I literally feel like I watch Leia come out of the kitchen area and start walking towards me, and I look over and there's nothing there, and when I do look for her, she's sleeping somewhere off either in my room or in this little cat house or something, and I swear I see something walking out of the kitchen. Like, it literally looks like something coming out of the kitchen towards me.
Oh my goodness.
And I look over and there's nothing there. And I'm like, I swear on my life that there was something there. Like,
no, I believe you. Yeah.
It's so wild. And it's happened way more, what do you say, vividly now than it ever has before. So I don't know what changed or what's new, but it is wild.
What's funny about that is that one of these articles I was reading that was all about the etiquette and stuff and having them come visit you and what to do, they also had a section in telling the difference between if it's fairies or spirits that are visiting you.
Okay.
Yes. And so
that's why you knew
literally. And I was like, this is kind of interesting, but I was like, this is already going to be an hour and I just have to cut it down. So I didn't include it, but there was a whole section, and basically I didn't read through the whole thing because I wasn't using it in the research.
Give me the TLDR.
But it was spirits. It's hard because there's one way to tell is that if you're speaking to them, fairies can't lie to you, but spirits can. So yes.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what makes spirits a little more scary almost, is that they can lie to you. So they could lie and say they're a fairy, or they could lie and say they're anything. Whereas fairies can't lie. But they say that spirits don't have these shiny, flickering flash light thing. It's more of like a dark, like how you would see a shadow or a body.
100% is exactly what I see.
Yeah.
But I also see, like, it also looks like my cat, like a shadow of my cat.
It could
like
be a spirit cat.
Human.
It could be a small spirit.
Okay. Well, I think I would like a spirit cat. Maybe it was one of my old cats.
It could be.
Like Snookums or Tika. Tika used to chase cars. She'd play.
Is that how she
cars.
became your past cat?
She got hit by a car. Yep. She got hit by the old janitor of my high school.
Oh, God.
She used to literally sit on one side of the road and wait for a car to come and run across the road right in front of it, playing chicken with cars.
Oh, my God.
She would try to either cause mass chaos and an accident or something. I don't know what she was doing, but that's what she used to do. And one day one of the cars got her, sadly, but yeah, that was it could very well be Tika, honestly.
There you go. We solved your mystery. Maybe
I'll think of the spirit as Tika. Yeah,
there you go. So my getting real moment is that I find since I've moved into this house, and especially the last couple months, I've been seeing like lights, and I would turn like I saw a light or something.
Oh,
yes, I have been.
Okay, so you may actually have
I know,
one.
and I didn't know that was like a sign of fairies until I was doing this research literally yesterday, and I was like, oh well, shit.
Well, shit.
Yeah, and then actually a weird thing. This was something I saw this morning, and I don't know. I was having a weird thing. When I wake up, the sun isn't even really up, so it's still pretty dark out. Mm-hmm. And first of all, I came downstairs and we have a motion sensor light on our back deck that shines into our backyard. And it was early. It was like 7 a.m. and it was still dark out. And the light was on for some reason.
Oh,
and this is the first time it's ever been on without one of us actually going back there. And I was kind of like, why is that on?
Oh,
no. And right now, my, no, I'm not going to say this in case somebody knows where I live. Never mind. So I flicked it off so that it would go off. And I'm like, that's weird. And then the lights were kind of still off in my house because I just woke up. And we have one of those things that plugs into an outlet, the little night light, you know, when it's dark and it kind of glows a little bit. It's just like one little tiny bulb that you plug into your outlet. So you have a little night light when you're walking around. Yeah. That is in my hallway. And because I flipped off the outside light, I could see the reflection of that in my patio door where I was looking outside.
Right.
And I could tell that's what it was because it's kind of like a white LED. But then I saw glowing like a very yellow orange light.
Okay.
And then I was like, because I saw the white one and I knew what that was. And then I saw this orange yellow light and I was like, what is that reflecting in the door? But I turned around and there was literally no other lights on in the house. And I'm like, what is that? But it was so dark out that I couldn't see anything other than this little tiny orange yellow, like very warm, like as warm as a sunset, glowing in my backyard, which is like Megan see my backyard. It's kind of like wild but interesting.
It is literally fairyland.
It is.
There.
It's like all these
backyard.
Big trees and plants and like it's very interesting looking.
It's just picture a fairyland and that is Nikki's backyard.
Yes.
It's very beautiful. I love it
so like
there.
It's hard. I was like, what is that glowing near the tree and the bushes? Like I couldn't tell. And I was like, just woke up and I hadn't had caffeine and I did not sleep very good last night. So I was like, am I going crazy? What's happening? So then I just walked away and ignored it. But anyway, maybe I saw a fairy this morning.
This story is to be continued because I feel like there's more coming later.
Right?
I can't wait. Definitely invited a fairy into your backyard.
Lord. So if you decide to go ahead and interact with the fairies, there are some known etiquette rules besides the rules we went over. And so some of this will link back to the stuff we said before. So it's good to ask them what they would like to be called because some don't like the term fairy and prefer something else like fair folk or something. I guess it kind of depends where they're from.
That's fair. That's like humans.
Yep. You can ask the fairy its name, but if they don't want to give it to you, don't push them because remember they can't lie.
Right.
But also remember that names hold power and you're not supposed to give fairies your name. So it's kind of rude to ask them for theirs.
And you don't want to be rude to a fairy, as we know.
There's so many rules.
Yeah.
So instead, you could ask them what name they'd like you to use when speaking to them.
Fair.
So then they're not lying because they can tell you anything.
But they might pick a name that's bad because they're mischievous.
It's true. They're tricky.
Yeah, they are. I'm getting that already.
Yeah. Remember that you don't ever want to say thank you to them. So instead, if they give you a gift, you can say things like, I really appreciate this, or I'm so happy this item is here. So just think of general gratitude phrases that are not thank you. Be appreciative.
Right.
Make sure to speak positively of the fae, even when they are not around, because they could be listening without you knowing.
Shit.
Because remember, they use glamours to be invisible, so there could be a fae near you at all times.
Or listening near your headphones.
Yes.
Clearly you have one in your backyard.
Right? So you just always want to be on their good side, so just always stay positive. If you promise them something, make sure you follow through, because if you break your word, you're in major fairy trouble. Any verbal agreement is a binding oath to fairies. If a fairy asks to borrow something from you, it's usually in your best interest to just give it to them. They will always pay you back somehow. Fairies do not like to owe debts. So they're like little magical Lannisters.
Right. Oh, yes. Interesting. Wow, that's twice Game of Thrones has come up tonight.
Right?
Actually, 3 times for me, because at work we were sorry, this is totally tangent. We were looking at a spreadsheet, and I thought the name on the spreadsheet said Lannister, but
Oh,
it was
really?
actually something else. And I was like, oh. So then we started talking about Game of Thrones. I was like, okay, so this is the 3rd time that has come up for me today. So interesting.
So that is the basics of our fairy etiquette, while also making sure that you follow all of the rules we covered before. It's a lot.
It's a lot to remember.
Right?
And this is the basics, so I'm sure there's more in-depth stuff as well.
And this is just fairies on our side of the world.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I'm sure there's different rules in different places.
I always wanted to have, you should, Nikki,
What?
yes, you need to create little fairy houses in your trees in the backyard.
I would love that.
100%. I would love to come over and help you do that.
Yes. Let's
when
do
we're
it.
allowed to hang out again. Because
I mean, it's also winter, so maybe we
that's
wait
true.
until spring.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes, I would love that, and then we'll make sure we have good food that we don't mind giving up the best parts of.
Yeah. Hey, I have no problem with most of it.
Just not cinnamon buns.
Yeah. I read a lot of stuff online about people's experience with fairies, and like, not even like, this isn't like fairy tale things, like people who genuinely,
people legitimately,
people who
have fairy
genuinely
experiences.
think that they've had experience with fairies. So there was a lot of both good and bad stuff. Some are just people who stumbled upon them, accidentally because they were out in the woods or something, or it was some stories from people that actually work with them in their spiritual practices on a regular basis.
Wow.
So that's some, depending on what your beliefs are, some pagan religions, you work with different, deities or spirits or whatever it is. And so some prefer to work with the fae folk. So it was all very fascinating.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I find that stuff very fascinating.
It is. A lot of it was heartwarming. Some was terrifying.
Good. Right on the, one end of the spectrum to the other.
Yeah. It really puts the fear in you if you want to work with fairies. But then there was some stories about, someone who said that they were working with a fairy and then they were asleep one night and their fairy came to them, the fairy that they've been working with in their spiritual practice came to them and woke them up out of their dream to tell them that they were in danger, and they actually woke up and their house was on fire.
Oh, I just literally got goosebumps when you said that. Wow. Okay, that's cool. Right? Very interesting. Mm-hmm. I am so fascinated with this stuff.
It's all very magical and I love it.
Yeah, it's same.
Do you think you want to meet some fairies, Megan?
I kind of do, yeah.
I do too.
Okay, we'll work on your little fairy home and your fairy land to bring fairies into your backyard and let's meet some new friends.
Yeah, and next summer my mom's going to help me plant gardens because she has a very green thumb.
Yes.
And I have black thumbs or something.
Your mom does have a very green thumb. She's wonderful at gardening.
Oh, she also bought us for Christmas. She gave it to us early. We got this. It's like a beautiful vintage looking lamp post and it's solar powered to put in our backyard so that it'll glow at night.
Nice.
Yes, it's very beautiful. I'm very excited.
Oh, that's cool. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Yay.
And I'm going to get my husband to put up like nice Edison bulbs outside, like those big vintage bulbs.
Yes. Oh, that's going to be cool.
Yes.
Okay. I can't wait.
Yes. This year and this summer is fixing the inside of the house. Not fixing, but just painting and
just
making it our own.
It's your own, yeah.
Yeah, and then next summer will be the outside.
Yay! Oh, let me know if you need any help.
Oh,
I love doing outdoor work for sure. Yeah. Anything you need, I'm there.
Yay! And then that means we can have barbecues and fires.
Yay! Oh, do you have a fire pit in the backyard?
We're gonna put one.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. I may need a place to crash.
Luckily we have a spare bedroom and we have a sectional couch, so
perfect.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd be happy sleeping on the floor, so as long as I
you
have
can sleep outside with the fairies.
Be. Yeah, that's right.
We'll get you a hammock or something.
Yeah, fairies and I are gonna have a party after hours.
Yeah. Just bring them some of your rosé.
That's right. Exactly. They can have all of it. Okay. I guess it's my turn to roll.
It is your turn.
Yay. Okay. Perfect. This is turning out to be
Use the holiday magic to get a good
pretty
one.
long episode. I should have got the green or red dye.
I know. I thought this episode was going to be short because I don't know, my writing seemed short, but here we are.
I had a lot of things to say.
Yeah.
I've also been drinking, which helps.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Whoop, whoop. All right, what did I get? I got a 3.
The way you were excited, I thought that was going to be way better. I was taking a drink of my water and I was like, oh my goodness, she must have got like a 19. I've never heard somebody whoop whoop for a 3.
I'm just trying to feel positive because I don't want fairies to get upset with me. Okay, 3 is cryptids are cooler than people.
It's true.
Did anybody just hear that in a song from Frozen? I just heard it as, what is it? I can't remember.
Something about reindeer?
Reindeer are something than people. Is it cooler? I don't know. Reindeers are cooler than people. I don't think it's cooler, but it's definitely up there. Yes, I'm excited. I love cryptids. I love a good cryptid story. Bam. Sorry, what did you say?
I said Megan's losing it.
Oh, yeah. It's true. I've lost it already. Cool. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us for this episode about fairies and folklore. That was awesome. We're definitely going to add that one back to the list.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I am all about the folklore, for sure. So if you would like to follow us on social media, you know where we are. We are on Instagram and Facebook at The Grimdark Diaries. And you can also follow us on Twitter if you would like. All 33 of you, I'm sure, are enjoying the content that we have to share on Twitter.
They're like, what content?
I know. It is at Grimdark Diaries on Twitter. And if you would like to send us an email, we would love to hear from you if you have had any fairy experiences. And we will definitely talk about them next episode. If you have any, please email us at thegrimdarkdiaries@gmail.com.
Or if you know more rules that we should know.
Yes, please. Any more etiquettes? Yeah. I mean, we
before
need to know everything.
Into our backyard.
Right. We need to know everything possible before next spring. That way we don't cause any harm to anybody near us or us ourselves. If you're listening to us today on an Apple podcast, if you could just hop right on over to our profile on the Apple podcast page, you can give us a 5-star rating and give us a comment and review. We would be ever so grateful because that actually shoots us up in the algorithm and helps other people find us as well. So if you do enjoy your content here, if you enjoy our content here and you would like others to find us as well, that would be very helpful for us to get our name out there.
I heard that on Spotify you can rate things now. I have not.
Oh, can you?
I saw a podcast I listened to posted it in their story and they were like, go to the page of the podcast or whatever it is on Spotify and go to the 3 dots and there's some kind of rating. I have not tried it, so maybe I lied. Megan, you keep talking and I'm going to check right now.
I was literally like, I'm just going to check. They changed the layout, so I don't know where anything is anymore. But if you want to find out, that would be great. Yeah, if you're on Spotify, do the thing. If you can, that would be great. Whatever other podcast platform that you are listening to us on, there are so many to mention that we can't mention them all. But whatever one you are on, if you can subscribe or if you can like us or if you can give us a rating, if you can give us a comment or a review, whatever you can do, that would help us out so much. We really, really, really want other people to find us. We hope that you really enjoy our content and are willing to share us out there with everybody else because we'd love to have more friends in the dark just like you. So thank you so much again, everybody. And you can join us next week to see what I come up with for Cryptids Are Cooler Than People.
Is that our new album?
I think so. I'll have a song for you next week.
Oh my God. Megan's going to do a whole song to go with her story.
I will obviously need to drink heavily before the episode to sing a song for you all. But it is possible. Who knows? Maybe it'll be half a song. Just a chorus.
Okay, I'm going to be real with you. I needed an update, so I just did the update.
Okay.
And I hit the 3 dots and I'm not seeing a rating system.
Okay,
I'm also not really great with technology, so.
Oh, I have to upgrade as well. Oh, interesting. You have to upgrade it. Oh, no, that means upgrade to a premium
Yeah, no.
account.
I have a premium account, but.
So I'm going to one of my podcasts.
We'll get back
that
to you
I
next week
follow.
on that.
I can follow, and I can share, and that's it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. But if you can do some things on your podcast platform, do those things for us, please. And thank you. We would greatly appreciate it. And we will see you all next week. And remember, a friend in the dark beats alone in the light.